Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Education Minister raises alarm over exploitation of young girls. Farmer arrested after major ganja bust in St. Mary. And later in sports, 2 names added to races Grand Prix. Now the details. Education Minister Dr. Dina Morris-Dixon has expressed deep concern over the exploitation of young girls in Jamaica. She says some of these girls are currently under siege. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Morris-Dixon says the recent cases highlighted in the media are not isolated incidents.
Minister of Education, one of the things that I have found in my conversations with guidance counselors is them talking about our young girls in our high schools, talking about sexual violence against them in the home. This is not something that is just happening here and there. This is something that's happening across our country. It is a problem. Our girls are under siege. Yes, we've seen some instances where we've seen murder, but on a daily basis, our girls are being raped.
Dr. Morris-Dixon says the situation is completely unacceptable and will not be swept under the rug.
I remember when I was at UWI and I was teaching, every office hours, our girls who are at UWI studying, trying to make something of their lives, they'll come and they'll sit in your office and they will cry about what happened to them in their communities. It is happening way, way, way too much. And we don't like to talk about it. But it is real. And we have to talk about it if we're going to truly address the problems. And so the Prime Minister has told us that we can't stand by and have this happen and just let it be, we're just going to have some excitement about violence against women for a couple of weeks. We have to do what we can as cabinet ministers.
A 28-year-old farmer was arrested following a major ganja bust in Three Hills, St. Mary on Wednesday. Around 5 p.m., police responding to a report became suspicious of the man. A search led them to a house where ganja plants were found hanging from walls and ceilings. 3 vehicles were also seized. The man is to be charged. The Agriculture Ministry is seeking to extend the school dairy production program to more rural institutions. Deidre Thomas explains.
In a bid to boost local dairy production and strengthen food security, Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green has launched a comprehensive dairy production program targeting schools across the island. According to Minister Green, teachers and students are already milking the benefits.
So our rebirth of the dairy industry is based on building a strong training core through our secondary schools. So what we've done, we've looked at schools that already have a history of dairy, like Elim, Sydney Pagan STEM Academy, and schools like Monroe and NCU, and we've provided some support. We've provided them with animals, we've provided them with new parlors.
With the equipment now in place and training underway, students aren't just observing, they're actively participating in the process.
We've provided them with mobile milkers, and as you would have heard from the principal here, their dairy is now soaring. They have a set customer that buys twice a week, that is doing value addition in terms of cheese. So we're going to do that. So we're looking to do that in 3 main areas: dairy, small ruminants, and freshwater fish. And in all of the areas, what we will do is provide some infrastructure support, provide them with the tools that they need to operationalize, get them up and running, have them have a curriculum that supports it, and then train the young people in that while making money.
The initiative, valued at over $5 million Jamaican dollars, aims to make agriculture more appealing to young people while boosting national milk production. Principal of the Sydney Pagan STEM Academy, Milberta George Miller, believes that initiatives like this are game changers for the future of farming.
That students get to appreciate this STEM methodology, the fact that they are doing this integration, they're doing these projects, they are learning from it, and it can be applied in the real world. So they are becoming problem solvers. And that is what we want to showcase about our program here.
Deidre Thomas, TVJ News.
Measles cases are rising sharply across the Americas, raising alarms among local health officials. Jamaica is now moving to safeguard against the disease. Sandy Williams reports.
Public health officials are bracing for a potential crisis following the alarming resurgence of measles in the United States, where more than 1,000 confirmed cases and 3 deaths have been reported. The growing threat has sent shockwaves through the region, as Jamaica's own immunization landscape has drastically deteriorated in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Health authorities are particularly concerned about the thousands of school-aged children who remain unvaccinated against measles, mumps, and rubella. In the years since the pandemic, routine childhood immunizations have seen a sharp decline as many parents have avoided or delayed vaccinating their children. These gaps have left a vulnerable generation exposed to the diseases. According to the latest UNICEF State of the World's Children report, Latin America and the Caribbean have suffered the steepest drop in routine immunization rates globally, plummeting from 93% to a troubling 75% over the past decade. The Ministry of Health has launched a national verification campaign in schools to ensure every student is fully immunized.
Our staff will be out there, especially the community health aides, looking for those babies that have not, according to our tracking registers, those who have not received the vaccines and for whatever reason missed their appointments. We therefore urge all citizens to assist in this global effort to immunize children against measles, which is highly infectious and potentially fatal.
Dr. Francia Prosper Chen, Medical Officer of Health for St. Catherine, emphasized the urgency of the situation.
Clinicians to be on high alert and report all cases of fever and maculopapular rash to the health department. That parents ensure that their children are vaccinated with the MMR vaccine, which is given at age 1 year and 1 year and 6 months. Your child should be fully vaccinated against measles before entering basic school. And school administrators must ensure that all children registered in school are fully vaccinated.
The Health Ministry has escalated its public awareness efforts and surveillance operations, seeking to prevent a disease once eradicated from making a deadly comeback. In partnership with the Canadian government and UNICEF Jamaica, the Pan-American Health Organization PAHO is supporting initiatives to rebuild Jamaica's childhood immunization system and reach the many children who have been left behind. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
Mixed feelings in flood-prone Baileysville, St. Mary after major drain cleaning. The mayor cites hurricane prep, but residents remain wary.
We cannot do anything about the hurricane and the earthquake and so on. We can certainly do something about the flooding.
And that's why a drain that residents say has not been cleaned for over 20 years is finally being cleaned today. It's been the source of flooding and devastation.
As soon as there's a torrential shower or anything, we have to be worried because all the debris from the road and elsewhere are coming in. And there's like maybe 3 other drains leading into this main one.
Pigs get washed away, chickens get washed away, fowl coops get washed away, people, even my house furniture is washed out, mud up and stuff like those.
The residents had written to me via letter and also have signatories of all the household complaining to the municipal corporation the plight that they have with the prospects of the hurricane season coming this year again and the flooding.
The mayor says it's part of major drain cleaning operations across the parish, which are expected to be completed before the end of May, in time for the June 1 start of the hurricane season.
We have done the main street in Port Maria, those drains. We have done Stennis Street drains, Warner Street drain, and some other major drainage in the town of Port Maria.
However, one resident of Baileysville says the area is not flood-free just yet.
But the gully will run from up the road. The water come from up on one hillside there, so they have to find from the source where that water come from. That come down in the gully that took to the road. It's not from the river, you know. We don't know where that water come from.
The mayor notes that money from the parochial revenue fund is also being spent to clean drains which usually cause major flooding in Onoto Bay. He's appealing for additional funds as well as the central government to clean other major drains across the parish. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Thousands of revelers and tourists are expected to flock Western Jamaica in the coming weeks. Stakeholders are welcoming a boost after a poor start to the tourism season.
Jamaica recorded a downturn in tourist arrivals in the first months of 2025. The situation has been partly blamed on the Trump administration's immigration policies, as well as the tariff war that left persons either nervous to leave the U.S. or spend on leisure.
Of course, the jitters amongst a lot of travelers who are green card holders has been a big challenge for us, and our stakeholders have acknowledged and confirmed that to be true.
But now there's optimism in Negril that the tourism-dependent town will again see an influx of tourists starting Thursday as the annual event Mocha Fest is staged.
I think once you get past the media hysteria and the initial scare of any change, things normalize a lot. And I think for us, we haven't really noticed anything significant as far as people being afraid to or being deterred from traveling through.
The event is in its 10th year, and Tourism State Minister Delano Severite says the ongoing investment is a vote of confidence for Jamaica's tourism and cultural product.
Mocha Fest has been a really powerful addition to Jamaica's tourism product. It has diversified the product somewhat. They have a large urban demographic that enjoys the shows that they have here in Jamaica, and of course they have expanded it elsewhere. They started off first with about 60 persons in 2015 when they had their first event, and now we're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 attendees.
The event will be hosted at 3 established party venues along Norman Boulevard in Negril. But what of the promised entertainment zone for Negril? We put the issue to the Tourism State Minister.
But we do have the conflicting situation where we have hotels and villas competing with parties that are very loud on the beach. Some persons come to Negril for rest and relaxation and silence. Some persons come to Negril to party and enjoy themselves. It's a difficult balancing act, and it's been a challenge for us as we continue to navigate the space in Negril. However, we are very supportive of any plans or any initiatives to build out a proper event space in the area of Negril. I know there have been some discussions in the past with UDC and other stakeholders about where would be ideal and so on. We want to encourage those discussions so that we can get to the point where we can have a proper space for major events in Negril, because we do need it.
Nakinsky Robinson, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
The government will be borrowing $4 million from the public on May 28 to help finance this year's budget. The funds will be raised through a benchmark investment note that matures in nearly 10 years. Investors will receive an annual interest rate of 7.5% with a minimum purchase of $1,000. The interest earned will be taxed at a rate of 25%. On the same day, the government will also seek to raise an additional $1 billion through another benchmark investment note. That offering will pay a higher interest rate of 8.25% per year and carries the same minimum investment and tax rate. Further afield, Authorities have cracked down on a hacking tool that has been used in ransomware attacks, bank thefts, and other digital crimes. The Justice Department said it had seized the computer systems hackers used to access the tool known as Luma. Cyber criminals have used Luma to attack airlines, universities, hospitals, and state governments. They've also used it to create tens of millions of dollars in credit card losses. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Kerry Ann Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Dr. Kenny Anthony, has announced his retirement from active politics and confirmed he will not contest the 2026 general elections or endorse a successor for the View of Fort South constituency. Speaking at a public meeting, Anthony said voters should evaluate potential candidates based on their plans and commitment to the St. Lucia Labour Party (SLP). Anthony, who served as Prime Minister from 1997 to 2006, and again from 2011 to 2016, said age, health concerns, and a desire not to overshadow current Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre influenced his decision to step away. On the international scene, the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says wealthy foreigners will be able to register for President Trump's Gold Card visa within a week. The visa costs $5 million and would give the person the right to live and work permanently in the U.S. Trump first proposed the Gold Card visa program earlier this year. The card would replace the government's EB-5 immigrant investor visa program, which grants green cards in exchange for small investment into the country. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Antonia Atkinson.
We take another break. Sports is next.